So I've got another project on the wall. Yep. So many things to do, so little time. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, April the 3rd, 2023. And this is vlog number 310. So let's jump right into what I've been working on. You have seen this in bits and pieces, which is kind of appropriate because this is bits and pieces. This I call Scraps and Stars, and this is completely made up, as you already know, with leftover bits and pieces of fabric, too pretty to throw out in the center. That's why I use them. And a couple of, well, 6 orphan blocks, which are Lemoyne stars that I was experimenting with a die that I bought from my AccuQuilt die cutting system. Slapped on some borders, and I have it all quilted, and I used a feathered design. And again, that was an experiment to see how that design would look in variegated thread, and it worked very well. Slapped on a border, and so now I've got a good size lap quilt, which I don't know, I may donate. It may become a charity quilt. I don't know. I don't know if anybody really want this because, it's just bits and pieces thrown together. But, it's kind of different, a little unusual. But yeah, most of my quilts are a little unusual. Not on purpose, as you know. Okay, and I've started another project. I've actually started, let me get it over here, 2 projects. This one, I'm going to talk more extensively about this. This is a pattern that comes from Chelsea Stratton Designs, and she did not do it in this color. But when I saw the maple leaves in the center of the log cabin, I thought to myself, this would make a really cool Canada Day quilt. And I happen to have a lot of the Canada, it's called, fabric from Northcott left over. Actually, I bought a little bit more just to make sure. I love that line of fabric. And so I am working on those. Up in the top left corner, you can see what one of the finished blocks looks like. And I've got 15 more to go, and I'm working at it as we go along. So maybe next week I'll have a little bit more to show you. I'm actually working on several projects at the same time. Keeps me off the streets, I guess. I'm also working on a project that is the All Stars quilt by Stephanie Stitches. She's been doing this as a sew-along on Saturday early evening kind of things. She does a live then. I can't usually make those ones on a Saturday, but she did provide for free in her blog the pattern for each star. So I have downloaded them all, and I've got about half of them done, and I have nothing here to show you at the moment. Actually, they're hanging up behind my display wall, and I was just too lazy to pull that back. I might talk a little more extensively about that project on the Idiot Quilter tomorrow. But anyways, yeah, working on that. On Lucey, my long arm, I've got my Color Splash quilt all set up, all ready to go. So later today, after I get a few other things done, I will return to it and start quilting it. My goal is to have it completely finished before we leave for BC, which is less than 2 weeks away. So yeah, we'll see about that. Okay, so that takes me to the YouTube channel of the week. And lately, Walter and I have been into growing things under lights. And of course, once the warmer weather comes, we'll be setting up our container garden on our deck. But I stumbled upon this YouTube channel, which is about farming. It's a big farm. It's called the Veggie Boys. And well, here's the little clip that'll explain it better for you. This week's YouTube channel of the week is for those of you that might be thinking about getting into your gardens and getting things cleaned up, since spring is spring is here. And the growing season, depending on where you live in North America, may vary. So some of you may be already starting to get your gardens ready. But because I have a grow light system and I do container gardening, I stumbled upon this particular YouTube channel called the Veggie Boys. which I found really kind of interesting. It is about life on a working farm, but it's a farm that does a lot of, well, they're a greenhouse system, I guess. And I think that they're open to the public for selling plants of all kinds. But they really show you behind the scenes look at how things are done in a working farm situation. And I found this really quite interesting. And the main person on the Veggie Boys has got a great personality. He's a little bit funny, a little bit quirky, and it's a very informative behind the scenes look at, how we get our food or our plants to our homes. So if you're interested in that kind of thing or just want, an interesting and informative and a bit funny kind of YouTube channel, then check out the Veggie Boys. So the link for Veggie Boys is in the show notes below. Now there's a link for Sew with Stephanie and Stephen on Wednesday morning from 9 a.m. till approximately this week. It'll probably go to about noon Eastern Standard Time. And right below that link, I'm saying this very carefully because people are getting the links mixed up. So please read the first line of each link. It explains exactly what that link is for. Because on Wednesday, it's the first Wednesday of the month, so we have Craft and Chat, and all are welcome no matter what you're working on. It doesn't have to be related to sewing or to quilting. It can be whatever, float your boat. There's a link for that as well, and that starts on Wednesday as well at 1 p.m. and it'll run until about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's a separate link for that. Now, if you come on to Sew with Stephanie and Stephen, I'll be there. Stephanie will be there. I will be telling you this again, but I will finish that one up by about 12. We'll take an hour for lunch. And then if you want to come back on the Craft and Chat, you can click on that link. I can't run the two together continuously because they're both two separate links. And some people will not be joining us for Stephanie and Stephen, Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. They'll want to join us for Craft and Chat, so that could just get things really mixed up. A lot of links. Okay. There is also a, I'm looking at my link list now. I put a link in here that I have no idea why I put that link on there, because that should not be there. But anyways, I'll correct that before I put this video up. There's a link for the Idiot Quilter about my love-hate relationship with Lucey. There's a So Chatty episode. We did a whole one around the idea of assumptions when it comes to quilting, sewing, etc., and things related to that. And of course, there is a link to this week's Stephen and Walter Live. I called it Easter Plans. We didn't talk much about that, but just a advance warning. Next Sunday is Easter. So Stephen and Walter Live, which usually comes on at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, will be on 1 hour earlier. We'll be at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because we're going to my sister's for dinner. And she lives about 25 minutes away, and she wants us at her place for about 4:30. So yeah, Stephen and Walter Live will be running probably a little shorter. You're probably saying, oh, good, on that. But it will start at 3 p.m. instead of 4 p.m. and it'll run until about 4 p.m. Okay, that's all the announcements for now. So let's take a look at what weather's looking like outside my window. And here you go. Yeah, it's a little dull today. Looks like there's a bit of a darkish cloud, possibly rain. It is April showers, all that. But you will notice something missing in this picture. Snow. And I'm very happy about that. In another month's time, that lawn should be green. Those trees should be budding out, if not before. And yeah, nice weather. I'm really looking forward to going to Vancouver because I've been following the weather there. And for the most part, now their weather's been up and down too, like ours here. I mean, on Saturday, we went up to a high of 14 degrees Celsius. That's shorts weather, definitely for us in Canada. Actually, as soon as the weather gets into about 8, 9, or 10, it's shorts weather. And I'm talking Celsius, people. But I'm really hoping when we go out to BC that the weather will be nice. Traditionally, it's always thought that, Vancouver's always been a little bit warmer than other places in the country. However, I don't know if that's still true. This whole thing with the climate change and whatnot, uh, it's been weird weather out the West Coast this year too. Like it's been weird weather everywhere, hasn't it? It's kind of scary when you really think about it. Is this an effect of global warming? Are we screwing things up and it's getting to us already? Or is this just the way nature works and we just don't realize that the cycles for nature are not decades long, but they're centuries long or more? So I don't know. But anyways, we're hoping for good weather for a variety of reasons. But here, yep, it's starting to look a little bit more like spring, sort of. If the sun would come out, that would be nice. Okay, so that takes me to what's pissing me off this week, and it's people who don't want to work. Yeah, you know, since COVID and the whole thing, um, when things aren't running the way they used to run, everybody blames COVID. Businesses blame COVID. Well, now the latest thing that's coming out of that is why things are getting canceled, like flights, like subway trains, like bus service, like hours in stores and things like that. And the excuse they're using is that they just don't have the personnel. The latest one we heard was ferries that go across to Victoria out in BC. We're already booked on that, but one of my subscribers sent me an email the other day telling me about different places I might want to see when I'm out there in terms of like quilt stores, and also warned me about the ferry system that they cancel ferries out there if they don't have enough personnel, even if you've got a reservation, because you do have to reserve to get on these ferries, because it's about a 2 hour ferry ride from the mainland of BC to Victoria. So, yeah, what's going on with this? The airlines are famous for it. They've been canceling flights left and right, and they're blaming it all on the fact that they don't have enough employees to cover all the things that need to be covered. But why is that? The Earth's population and the population of Canada has not significantly decreased because of COVID. A lot of people got laid off, terminated by their employers during COVID as well. But now things are wide open again. Why aren't these places hiring these people back? Why are people not working? Well, okay, so our government gave people subsidies during COVID to tide them over, so to speak. Now, for some people, that money was about the same. In some cases, it might have been a little bit more than that what they were getting, depending on the kind of job they were doing. I mean, if they were working in a restaurant or something like that, where, basically those people are being paid just minimum wage kind of a thing, maybe they felt, even though the government has stopped giving money out, maybe they felt it's not worth going back to those jobs. But I think there's something else, and no one's been really talking about this. My theory is this, and what am I basing this on? Just by observation, that's all. I don't have anything substantial to support this theory. My theory is, well, a two-part theory. One, I think there's a lot of lazy people in the world. They have found something else that they can do, that they get an income from somehow, and they don't want to go back to the job they had before for one reason or another. My second theory, though, which I think is a little bit more reasonable, is that these employers managed to get through COVID with less staff. So now they're figuring they can recoup their losses during COVID by not hiring staff back. If they could get through COVID with less staff, they're probably figuring they can get more, they can get through now with less staff. And that means they don't have to pay money for wages. But in the case of the big airlines and that, who don't give a crap about their customers anyways, as we well know, they're looking at how they can save money. Well, they've already upped the prices as they do, but they're saving even more money by not hiring back those employees. See, they don't really care what kind of chaos that starts in the airports. I mean, for example, with Air Canada, they have reduced the number of flights that go out of Toronto to Vancouver. They used to have one, many times in a day. Like Walter said, you could get a flight at 8, at 9, at 10, at 11. We have one at 12, and then so on. Well, now they've reduced that considerably. Now, the airlines are not saying it's their fault. They're saying that's what the regulations have been that have been changed at Toronto International Airport, which is called Pearson. That they, because, there was all this hullabaloo about luggage not getting there, people in long lines, flights being canceled, blah, 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 blah. And so, they decided there was just too many people going through. So they reduced the number of flights that could go out. So Air Canada has been switching their airplanes around. We've already had our seats switched, and Walter goes in online because he books it himself and has had to change our seating 3 different times. And you pay for seating, right? You pay for reserving it. But because they changed the plane to a bigger plane or whatever, they have a different configuration inside. So at one point, they had me sitting near the front of the plane and Walter sitting at the back of the plane, not together. So Walter fixed that up. Luckily, Walter knows how to do that. Okay. The average person might not even, like, he's got it set up so he gets notifications every time they change our plane and everything, and he goes right onto the reservation system and figures out where we're going to seat. But a lot of people wouldn't know that and might be very shocked when they got to the airport to find that they are sitting miles apart from whoever they came with, if they came with somebody. But anyways, this goes back to they don't have enough employees. Well, you know how you cure that? Hire people back. Give them some incentive to come back. Give them more money. The airlines can afford, especially that business, they can afford to pay their employees more. They make record profits. They're like the banks all the time. They up our ticket prices. They nickel and dime us for everything, charge us to check a bag. They charge us to reserve a seat. They charge you for entertainment. They charge you for food, depending on where you're going, what airline, all that kind of stuff. They can afford to pay their employees more. And that might be the incentive that would get more people to come back to them. But I don't think they want more people to come back to them because they're making profit on the backs of the customers and on the backs of people who are in the service industry in that who don't have a job, that they're not hiring back. Yeah. What is the world coming to? Our prices on food have gone up. Transportation sucks. I'm not looking forward to this trip in terms of getting there. And after hearing this thing about the ferries over there, I have no idea. Because we've got hotel rooms already booked and the whole bit. We have cancellation on some of these, on most of them, because we usually get that. With it, costs us a little bit more, but rest assured. But I mean, the ones to get to Victoria, to get over there to the island, yeah. But Walter did look up some stuff, and it looked like the main line ferries, the ones that are the ones they use on a daily basis back and forth there, those ones look pretty safe. It's the ones that go to other areas that are less traveled that looks like they cancel those ones on a whim. But yeah, there are people who want jobs, who need jobs. We were talking about a few years ago, it was lack of jobs. Now, there are places that have lots of jobs, the ones that want to hire, and people aren't taking them up on that. They'd rather live off of welfare? I don't know. This is a very complex problem. As I speak about this right now, there's an awful lot of other factors involved in all of this. And of course, it's all been caused by COVID. Right. I wonder when they had the Spanish flu influenza, the Spanish flu pandemic back in the early 1900s, whether this had the same effect on the economy. I don't think it did. I don't remember ever reading much about that. I'm sure it affected the economy somehow, but I don't think it was used as much of a scapegoat as COVID has been used now in our modern world. Yeah. So I guess I'm taking my chances when we fly out in less than 2 weeks. I'm hoping all goes well. But the worst part of the whole thing is that these things are out of the average person's hands, out of your control. And I like to have control. So for me, it's a problem. So yeah, that's pissing me off. Let's see, 3D printing. Alrighty. So I do have some things to show you that I printed on my 3D printer, and I just have to find them. And here they are. And actually, I didn't make these recently. This is my um, holiday display, my Easter display. This is on my central, geez, I think that is not specks of dust on my glass tabletop that you're looking at. I want to tell you that. No, I got to clean the lens on my camera because that's on my camera lens. I know. I just cleaned that table this morning before I took that picture. So yeah, don't curse me for that. I've already actually been house cleaning before I started recording this already because it's that time of the month to clean. But anyways, back to my bunnies. So all those I made last year with the 3D printer, and I made others. Here are some more. And I just got some cheapo artificial flowers from the dollar store just to spruce things up a little bit. I really like the eggs. They're cute. And some more. This is the purple bunny display, I guess. Anyways, I made all of those, and you see this little bunny down here, the green one? I have larger ones of these, and I'm going to fill them with chocolate Easter eggs and wrap them all up in saran, you know, the clear, what do you call it? Looks like saran wrap, but it's not. It's for, you know, gifts that you put around them, put a little bow on them, and take them over to my sister's and give them everybody at my sister's place for dinner. One of my bunnies, big bunnies with chocolate eggs. Yeah, my nephews and nieces, my brother-in-law, my sister, and I don't know if there'll be anybody else there, possibly her in-laws. I made enough. I made enough to cover everybody. I always do. So yeah, now another thing on my 3D printer that I want to show you, if I can pull up, I should have done this in advance. I'm an idiot, I know. So just bear with me. I'm trying to get to the web page for this. Where is it? And here we go. And let's blow it up. And so this is the other new thing I bought this week. No, I did not buy another 3D printer. What I bought was an accessory. If you look up here on the top of this picture, right here, you see the light. Yeah, that's what I bought. And they're showing you here different pictures of what that looks like. But I got this, goes up under the bar, because I had another light system on my 3D printers, and 2 out of the 3 of them are working well, but one burned out. And it was a light I bought that was actually meant to go on under in the throat of a sewing machine, but it worked really well with the 3D printer. However, there's one problem. Because the 3D printer gives off heat, the little soldering points on those other lights melted away. And I have replaced it twice, and they're 50 bucks a pop. And I thought there's got to be something better. And I know there were strip lights for 3D printers. So I did a search on Amazon. First thing I came across was one by Creality, which is the company that makes my 3D printers. But I was looking at the installation, and in order to install it, I had to pull the computer circuit board out of the machine. Now, I think I could have done that. I've tinkered around with that before, but you know, it's a pain in the butt. So I was looking for something a little simpler. Also, it was about $35 for the kit, and I was sure I could get something a little less expensive. So I came across this. I read the reviews. You can see that the price is $14.98 on Amazon.ca, and it had a video on how to install it. Now, it did mean I had to pull the power box off the printer, but that was simpler than the pulling the circuit board. And so I took a chance. Now, everybody said this was really bright. So I got it. I installed it. It was fairly easy to install. It wasn't that hard. I had to print a piece for it for the switch. I don't know if they show this to you. They do tell you, though, you need to print this little box for holding the switch. Well, it's up here in the top there. Let's go back. There it is. up at the top of the screen. You see that little white thing in a bracket? You have to print that out. They tell you where to find that and print it. So I did, and it works fine. But I was not impressed with the brightness. It looks really bright in this picture, right? But you know, sometimes they lie. Although in the reviews, people said it was very bright. Well, I got it all installed, and this is a sort of a rubberized LED light strip. You're supposed to sort of push it up into the track of the crossbars that are there. Well, I did. It went in fairly easily. Turned it on, worked fine, but it was not very bright. And I thought, well, it'll have to do for now. And I was thinking if this works really well, I'd buy ones at that price for the other two printers as well. And eventually those lights will go that are on there and I'll have these and be able to replace them. But I was really disappointed in the brightness. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I put it in wrong. I slipped it in and I put it in sideways, meaning that half of the light was buried in the crossbar. That's why it was so dull. When I discovered that, I tried to flip it over, but I could not get it to nestle into that bar. It just wouldn't go in that way. So I tried to put some two-sided tape on it. That didn't hold. It didn't like the surface of those lights, the silicone or whatever's around them. Just the tape didn't like that. But then I remembered I had some plastic ties. I used those. Works dandy. The light is very bright. I'm very happy with it right now. So I think I will invest in a couple of more. Keep them in storage. Because Amazon has a way of putting the prices up on things after a while, after you've ordered it once. So I'll try to get them at that price, and I'll have them in reserve. So when the other ones blow out, or maybe even before then, I'll install these other two lights in that. So yeah, it works really well. And because it's wired into the 3D printer, whereas the other ones are actually plugged in separately, when I turn on the printer, if I haven't turned off the switch to this light, they'll come on. So yeah, that's I like that. That's convenient as well. So yeah, so for those of you that are 3D printer enthusiasts, you might want to look into this. It's on Amazon. Just put in, what did I put in? I don't have the link here. Actually, I may have the link. I'll put the link in the show notes below for you if you're interested in this. Okay. So that takes me to the grow lights, and let me just get to that. And that takes me to what's going on with my grow lights, and lots of things are going on with my grow lights. As you can see, this is grow light number 1. No, this is grow light number 2. Where's number 1? This is grow light number 1. We have a new crop of lettuce coming up and a new crop of basil, and we still have some green onions and some chives there. The chives, I think we need to prune back and get rid of them. We don't use the chives much. They might be squeezing out the green onions. I don't know how well they're going to do. They're taking a long time, and I'm not really sure how long green onions take, but that's grow light number 2. It's coming along really nicely. Now, or grow light number 1. This is grow light number 2. Another new crop. There's some old lettuce in here. You can tell it's low because old. That's what I meant, old, because it's a little brown on the edges. But here's the newer crop right here. So I think we should trim off what we can here and probably replant all of this. Now we got a problem. These are green peppers, and we have green peppers out with grow light number 3. There, but these ones are growing up pretty tall. In fact, I've got the canopy. That's this dark part at the top. It's raised as high as it'll go. So I'm gonna have to speak to Walter about this, and I think we're going to have to try and transplant these, and hopefully they'll survive into larger pots and put them out in grow light number 3. Actually, it's grow light number 3 and 4 because there are 2 grow lights here, which looks like 1, but there are actually 2. It's difficult to see this in the picture. But you can see the other grow lights up here at the very top of the tomato plants. And the tomato plants are coming along very nicely, and there are green tomatoes, and they are getting bigger back in here. Remember, these are small tomatoes, or cherry tomatoes, or dwarf tomatoes, they call them. These are our green peppers that are out here, and they've had flowers, and they're coming along. They take a long time. So these may be, by the time they get going, we might be able to put these out on the deck, but I think we'll have to acclimatize them. Either that, or Walter was saying, instead of starting from seeds for out on the deck, we'll go to a nursery and buy some that are already started as well and keep these indoors and do a little comparison. I don't know. You notice Walter has his little areole in here with the reflecting mylar on it. And this little shoot that's over here in the glass of water, he pruned down these because they were still growing. They're supposed to be dwarfs. It said on the seed packet from Amazon, 12 to 18 inches tall. Well, yeah, no, they're taller than that. One reason why these grow lights are different, and they have, you see this string here, they're on pulleys, so we can lift them up higher or lower them for this kind of thing. So the one he cut back, he just threw it in a glass of water, see if it does anything. I don't think it will, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. Give that a try. So yeah, I just cut myself off there for a minute. We are busy with our crops. Okay, what's that take me to? Okay, blasts from the past trip. This is still in New Zealand, our very first trip to New Zealand and Australia, which was a cruise. This was December 14th, 2016, and it's at Kuroa, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and Christchurch.
And we're on the tender going to, where are we going? Christchurch, Agora, and then to Christchurch. And we're going up a galley today, or get to someplace up on top on a cable car or something, having lunch there. And oh, we're going hunting. Yeah, hunting. So we'll see what that's all about. This is what the inside of a tender looks like. We have to be on this because the ship is too big to anchor closer to shore.
Of course, you've got your viewing point, and you can also have your lunch. And from there, we then go across to the Antigua boat sheds. Then it goes over on the Avon River, and you have a boat ride ordered for 2:15. So you've got to sort of keep fairly close to our schedule there. So hopefully everything comes together nicely. Now, we're back to Akaroa. See a number of little shops and what have you along here, and of course they're all geared up for people like yourselves. They all expect you to take something home in your suitcase. Right, so we're going to sneak around here. This is the first little square of the shops, and then we'll get round to the next portion, which is round the bay just a little bit further. Now, Akaroa is not all that big. It's got about 700 residents and a whole lot more houses than what 700 people need. So a lot of them are holiday homes and weekenders. Now, if we're on a cruise ship on a Friday afternoon, and we're going home about 6:30 at night, we will see cars coming out here with boats and jet skis and trailer cycles and what have you. And of course, we're coming out for the weekend from Christchurch. Now, it takes us an hour and a half, but you can do it a whole lot quicker in a car. And of course, if you haven't got some form of aquatic machinery, there's actually not a lot to do. But anyway, the climate's a bit better than it is in Christchurch or down the Canterbury Plain. That is for people who are travelling around with all their possessions on their back, and they arrive in there and they're looking for super cheap accommodation. Now we have what they call freedom campers. I'll tell you about them later. Right, now we're about to leave the main street of Akaroa, and we're going to start climbing our way out of here. This little town has a bit of a dark history to it. It was settled in the late 17th century by French, and they were whalers and settlers. So we stopped there and we wind the clock back to 1769. And that was when Captain James Cook, the British explorer and navigator, found this landmass. And of course he drove the British flag into it and claimed sovereignty. A year later he did exactly the same thing with Australia. Now, sailing up the Queensland coast, he ran up onto a coral reef and wrecked his ship. Now they're in a part of the world that nobody knew existed, so he knew for sure that nobody was going to sail past and save them. Now, for about a month, they sat there scratching their head and trying to work out what they were going to do. The best part of the whole exercise was that they were eating oysters quicker than the palm of your hand. And that bit I would have definitely enjoyed. They then decided that they would build a smaller vessel out of the wreckage of the ship. Now, the Dutch had been coming down to what they had named as Batavia. Batavia today is Indonesia. And they were coming down there, they were taking back to Holland citrus fruits, spices, and native timber from tropical countries that they'd never seen before.
Okay, so we're at the top of the, whatever this is, Christchurch gondola ride. We had lunch up here, and now below, I guess, that is all Christchurch. And so
No, that's not Christchurch.
Where's Christchurch?
The other side.
Oh,
I don't want that.
what is this? Okay, never mind. This is not Christchurch. Christchurch is on the other side. So I'll have to go over to the other side and check that out. But it's still pretty. And it's feeling like it's about to rain. It's spitting. Okay, according to this map, what I was looking at down there is Littleton Port. And something called Diamond Harbor on the far side, and that's Mount Herbert over there. Okay, so now let's find Christchurch. Okay, this is Christchurch. I'll zoom in a little bit. And we're going back down there, I think, and taking a drive to the center of the town at some point. But we're also going to do some hunting. And I'm not sure what hunting is, but it involves a boat, so we'll see. And now we're going down the gondola
Let's do that.
and let's see. Quite a view. Quite a view.
Where are you folks visiting from?
Texas,
Texas. Is that Houston?
between Dallas and Fort Worth,
Oh, okay.
Arlington. Just dare you.
The only song I know is Row, Row the Boat. You like nursery rhyme?
As long as it's not Tip Tip the boat.
What kind of tree is that?
It's called a horse king. Comes from England and Scotland, places like Wales. And those spiky little apple things that you're seeing on it, they're called chestnuts, and inside there's a conker.
Oh.
Oh. You can't eat these though.
What does this tree on?
Takes more than one photo at a time. It makes you add some. Gives you a better picture.
So we're punting on the Avon.
Someone else has to take over there. Funny name, they're called storks. And you can see the one with the yellow eyes, the gold ring around its eye, that's the male.
Repeat.
The other one is the female. So the female's on the right, the male's on the left there.
Oh,
Little baby duckies.
And if you lift them up, there's a number on their stomach and you get a prize.
He ducked and went under.
Yeah,
It's a little baby.
practicing their diving.
Yeah, he hasn't come up yet. There he is. Oh, that was the cutest thing.
About 135 years old. Wow. But it's quite unique as we go under here. You notice the branches are quite unique in just the way they're set out. Quite nice. It creates a bit of shade over the river. Yeah. Really beautiful. Just how it
I
throws.
love the way that trees look. You want me to take your picture? I know so we can do it. Well, we have it in our yard, but certainly it's not like that, I think.
So that takes me to events in the past week. Yes, I was at the dentist last Monday. She worked on me for about an hour. I thought I was only going to have 2 fillings put in to cure my sensitivity in my upper and lower back here. She said it was 4. Yeah. Anyway, she worked on me. She had trouble with whatever she was doing down the lower. It kept popping out. That's not a good sign. She said, well, we'll watch that. I go in July, on my birthday actually, for my next cleaning of my teeth. So at that time, she'll be taking a check at that. Is my sensitivity gone? Yes, it is. But now it's not too bad today, but down here in this lower gum, it has felt like it's been swollen and it's been a little sore. Now that may be because of what she was doing back here. And so it may take a little time for it to heal. I don't know. I hope that's all it is. It's a lot better today than it was last week. So I'm thinking that's probably what it is. But yes, the sensitivity for the most part is gone. I'm a little tiny bit up here. I don't know with it. One thing I'm happy about is I had one tooth up here that you can't see. And for quite a long time, the enamel, I think, has worn off on it up near the, and I think that was causing the sensitivity near the gum line. And she filled that all in and it feels wonderful. It's so nice and smooth up there. So, and she had me take a look at it and she did a nice job of that. So yeah, I wish I'd had that done some time ago. But you know, I'm not a fan of dentists, but I'm also not a fan of bad teeth. So yeah. So anyways, that is done. Now, Walter finally used on the weekend the new toy, his new toy, the stand mixer, the KitchenAid stand mixer. And he, you know, he bought all these accessories for it. Well, one of the accessories he bought was a grater. So it'll slice, dice, and make julienne fries kind of a thing on it. But we're on this kick right now. We buy a lot of the pre-shredded cheese. And have you checked the price on it? It was never cheap. But the price on it has gone up astronomically, like everything else. But sometimes you can get bars of cheese on sale. And when they go on sale, we'll buy several and we will keep them in. They'll keep for a long time in your fridge if you haven't opened them up. So our new thing now, you know, because of the price, is when we see the cheese on sale, we buy it up and Walter shreds it using the KitchenAid. And we put it in a big Ziploc bag and freeze it. And the first batch he made seems to be working out all right for that. So, you know, we can make our own. And it's a lot less money than one of those bags of shredded cheese, I can tell you. But I'm going to show you him grating his cheese here. So you may be wondering what Walter's doing. He's grinding cheese, shredding cheese in his new KitchenAid Mix Master. He's having fun. It's the first time he's used it since he got it. So instead of spending an exorbitant price on pre-shredded cheese, when cheese goes on sale, we can buy up bricks of it and Walter can shred it. We're all about economy these days. Does a good job.
Yeah, it's fast too.
So what else happened in the last week? Well, we had a pop-up soda day on Saturday. Now, this was truly a pop-up sew day because I had not planned to have one. It wasn't in my mind. But Saturday morning, I got up and looked outside, and it looked miserable out, although the day did turn out quite nice later on. But it looked drizzly cold. It was about 2 degrees Celsius. And I thought, I have a lot of sewing I want to do, and I'm really inspired by sewing with other people. So I decided at 10 to 8 that morning to send out on the mailing list an announcement that I was running a pop-up sew day. And there were quite a few of you that joined us, and it was a lot of fun. I got a lot done that day, and it was just, I'm glad I did it. Now, new problem. It's not really a problem. But of course, I have a few of my key pop-up sewers who always show up and who kind of egg me on to have these. Like if they had their choice, I think we'd have one every weekend. In some cases, every day. And I'm a little hesitant to do them on 2 of a regular schedule because, well, people might get bored. Distance makes the heart grow fonder, kind of a thing. If you keep people wanting more and they'll keep coming back, that kind of thing. Well, they're insisting that I have one next Saturday, a pop-up sew day. I have not decided yet. My sandbox, you know the rest. But anyways, I might. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like. Even if the weather's nice, am I going out? Probably not. I don't have any specific plans for next Saturday. I do have to get a few things ready for, dinner at my sister's the next day. However, I'll probably have those done before Saturday, and that's not a big deal. I could even do them while we're having a pop-up sew day. So what I'm saying is this. There may or may not be a pop-up sew day this coming Saturday, but I will make the decision closer to Saturday, probably about Thursday, maybe Friday, and I will send it out in an email to those of you that are on my pop-up sew day mailing list. Now, I will not be making a YouTube announcement about it. Well, I might on So Chatty, because we usually do So Chatties on Fridays. But no guarantee of that. So, how do you find out for sure? Be part of the mailing list. And all you have to do is send me your name and tell me you want to be on the mailing list. Send it to me as an email. So I will have your email address and I will add you to the mailing list. And if you're a little bit cautious about being on mailing list because you think I'm going to be emailing you all the time, no. And I don't sell anything. I'm not doing this for anybody else, but just for me and just for you. So it is private, and I even send the email out to you as a blind carbon copy so nobody sees your email address. So I am protecting your privacy as best I can if you're concerned about that. Okay, so we'll see what the week brings in my life. Okay, so what's coming up? Well, the retreat, of course, but that's not till May the 6th, but I am full, but I have started a waiting list. And I've already I had one person on the waiting list, and that person is now on the registered list because I did have someone drop out who very kindly let me know that something had come up and they knew they were not going to be able to attend. So that was great. I mean, I'll miss that person not being at the retreat, but life happens. But what was really nice is I knew about it. I was able to give that spot to a person on my waiting list. So yeah, if you don't think you have a chance of getting on, you're not going to bother putting your name on the waiting list, no, there is a good chance that you could get on to the list, but you won't if you're not in my waiting list or not on my waiting list. Okay, so as I already said, Wednesday's a busy day. So with Stephanie and Stephen, 9 a.m. Eastern time, and then at 1 p.m. Craft and Chat. So yeah, Wednesday's a busy day. And I think that's about it. And I've got a ton of things to do around here today as well. So I better get on with it. So thanks for joining me today. And we'll see you tomorrow for the Idiot Quilter. Bye-bye for now.